Yo, what is up guys, it's Highcross and welcome to a new video. In this video, I'm going to be breaking down why I have decided to change my main gaming mouse from the Razer Viper V3 Pro to the G-Wolves HTX 4K, a mouse that I actually reviewed 2 years ago and told people not to buy because there were better options out there. However, I ended up consistently going back to this mouse and now I've chosen to move forward and use it as my main gaming mouse. So in this video, I'm going to be breaking down all the specs and give it a second chance 2 years later review of the mouse and explain why I love this mouse so much and why I've decided to move forward with it as my main gaming mouse. With that said, if you guys have not already subscribed to the channel, please make sure to hit that subscribe button down below and give this video a thumbs up. It really helps support the channel and I love making videos like this one. So yeah, let's get right into the review. All right, boys. So yeah, you heard that intro correctly. I have decided to go with the HTX 4K by G-Wolves as my main gaming mouse. And over 2 years ago, I actually won this gaming mouse from a Twitter giveaway from Chad Alt Delete. And honestly, my first impressions of this mouse weren't the greatest. I thought there was actually some pretty bad flaws with the mouse, and I ended up not liking it straight off the rip. Some things that I talked about, some cons that I mentioned, was the DPI button. I actually ended up fat fingering all the time. I talked about the poor battery life. And I believe in that video, I talked about the price being very high compared to other options out there. However, I kept going back to this mouse and I've just fallen in love with it. And I'm here to give it a second chance review. So let's break down this mouse and give you guys everything that you need to know about the G-Wolves HTX 4K. So let's start off with the sensor. So the G-Wolves HTX 4K uses the Pixar PMW 3395. It has up to 26,000 DPI. That is a pretty solid sensor. I have no issues in game with the sensor whatsoever. I think this mouse is absolutely incredible. The sensor is located higher up on the mouse, which you actually really want. That just helps with tracking and aim overall. The shape and grip, it has a flatter lower hump and it is best for claw/palm grip users and small to medium hand users. So my hands are small to medium, okay? They are definitely on the smaller side. I'm a short person, I have small hands. This mouse grip and shape is just so perfect for me. The dimensions come in at 119 millimeters long, 64 millimeters wide, and 36 millimeters tall. Honestly, I was so used to the shape of the Logitech G Pro X Superlight at the time that switching to a smaller mouse just felt so weird and unnatural. However, just switching to more of a claw grip, palm grip hybrid instead of just solely palm grip really helped me fall in love with this mouse, and I actually prefer that grip style now on all gaming mice. This mouse also comes in at a shocking 39 grams with the honeycomb design. If you guys choose to purchase the solid design without any honeycombs, it's going to be 2 grams heavier, around 41 grams. Both of those weights are extremely light, and honestly, this mouse just feels like a feather when you're playing, and it really helps my aim overall. And honestly, it almost feels like you're aiming with your eyes. It feels absolutely incredible. For the buttons, it has 6 buttons. Obviously, you're gonna have your left and right click. You're gonna have your scroll wheel button, 2 side buttons, and a DPI button right at the top here. For the switches, this is ultimately my favorite part of the mouse by far. The switches use Zippy DF3 P1 L1 switches, okay? They sound absolutely incredible, and the switches are the reason that I keep coming back to this mouse. I do not like gaming mice that have really loud clicks and switches when you play. These switches feel super light and crisp, and I just absolutely love Zippy switches. So I'm actually gonna give you guys a quick sound test right now, and I'm just gonna give you guys an idea on how these switches sound. So yeah, as you guys just heard, those switches are definitely on the quieter side compared to a lot of other gaming mice out there that have those optical switches that sound a lot louder, and honestly, you could feel the press. When I'm playing, I really don't want to feel that click. I just want it to seem seamless and very light and snappy and crisp, and that's exactly what the Zippy switches deliver. For the polling rate, you can get up to 4,000 hertz wireless on this gaming mouse, and honestly, I know that nowadays a lot of gaming mice are trying to get 8,000 hertz polling. However, in my opinion, I think 8,000 hertz is insanely overrated. Most people cannot get a solid 8,000 hertz when they play, especially if you're playing Fortnite. It is going to cause frame drops, hitching, especially if you're late game. Honestly, I just run into so many issues. 4,000 hertz is definitely a safer bet. However, I do have to say, I still hitch on 4000 hertz with this gaming mouse, and I hitch with 4000 hertz on other gaming mice as well, including the Razer Viper V3 Pro. My sweet spot is 2000 hertz. I do not get any frame drops, any hitching whatsoever on 2000 hertz wireless. I think it is the perfect sweet spot for any gaming mouse. It's a little more than 1000 hertz. You can't really tell. A lot of it low-key is placebo. However, I do recommend that 2000 hertz polling rate just to get a little bit above 1000 hertz. For the mouse feet, you guys could see, honestly, it's nothing crazy, just that top and bottom mouse feet. They are completely PTFE. Pretty standard stuff. Obviously, you have that O-ring in the middle there around the sensor. Pretty standard, nothing crazy there. I honestly, if I had to nitpick, I would prefer larger mouse feet, just kind of like more in the center of the mouse, but however, it is completely fine. I have no issues whatsoever with the glide. The glide is absolutely tremendous on this mouse. I have no problems there whatsoever. Now let's get to some cons, the only drawbacks with this gaming mouse. First, let's talk about the battery life. So with the battery life on this mouse, you're gonna get around 70 hours on 1K hertz. However, you only get about 20 hours, maybe less, with 4K hertz polling. On 2K hertz polling, I noticed that I get maybe a little over a day, but that is it. So the battery life is actually really, really bad with this mouse. You have to charge it constantly. It is actually very annoying. I'm not a huge fan of charging it nonstop. I do recommend turning off the mouse after you're done playing. I typically am really bad with that though, and it ends up just dying. But yeah, definitely make sure to try to turn off your mouse if you're deciding to pick this one up. So the battery life is not the greatest on this mouse. Next is the software. So this mouse's software is found in a Windows driver utility, and it's honestly a little complex to set up, and the files are not named that well. Honestly, not a huge fan of the software. The software is the biggest downside of this mouse whatsoever. It's actually very, very poor. Once you have it up, however, it is easy to kind of see and play around with everything there. You can have custom DPI, the mouse is remappable, etc., etc. You can play around with everything there, but I definitely wish they had a more user-friendly software. So yeah, not a big fan of the software. In my previous video that I made about 2 years ago, I mentioned that I kept fat fingering the DPI button. You could actually disable the DPI button in the software, and honestly, that is what I did. And now that I've gotten used to this mouse shape, I actually never fat finger that DPI button anymore anyways. That was just because initially when I got this mouse, I was not used to the mouse shape, and so I would consistently mess up and always fat finger that button, so that got really annoying really fast. But now I have no problems. You can always disable it in the settings, and a lot of you guys told me that in the comments of my original review. So on the G-Wolves website, this mouse comes in at $140, and for some reason I actually saw that on eBay it's selling for like $270 unboxed. I don't know why that's so high, but it seems to be available on the G-Wolves website. $140 is not bad at all. I believe the Razer Viper V3 Pro is coming in at $160 right now, and that's the best gaming mouse in the market for general users. So I do think that if you guys have small to medium hands and you want to try out a mouse that I really think will not disappoint, I do recommend picking up the G-Wolves HTX 4K. It is going to be my main gaming mouse moving forward. I absolutely love it. I feel like I play so much better on this mouse just based on the mouse shape, those switches, the clicks, everything about this mouse is just really, really good. There's just a couple nitpicky things with the battery life in the software, but other than that, nothing really to complain about with the mouse itself. One last thing I do want to mention about the mouse. So right here is the dongle, and this dongle is actually connected with a USB-A to micro USB, but the mouse itself charges with a USB-C. So you actually will need 2 separate cables to connect the dongle and the mouse to your computer. It is very, very annoying, and I actually lost the USB-C charger for this mouse, so I had to use a random USB-C charger. So yeah, there's just a lot of cables involved. It is a little sketch, but truthfully, this mouse is absolutely elite, and I do strongly recommend picking this up. So yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed kind of this second chance review on the HTX 4K by G-Wolves. If you guys tune into my live streams, I actually stream on Twitch pretty often nowadays. I'll have that link down in the description below. You guys can see me use it. And yeah, I'm absolutely loving this mouse, and I strongly recommend you guys to pick it up. I'll have everything linked down in the description below. So yeah, with that said, thank you guys for watching, and I'll catch you guys in the next video. Peace.